Now, allow me to introduce the dedicated York International team. First, we have Eugene Lee, who is the International Student Experience Coordinator, overseeing the Orientation and Transition portfolio. As previously mentioned, I am Tirth, and joining me are my colleagues Nika and Zhang. By the end of this webinar, you should have a better grasp about housing options available for you, the international students at York University. We'll be covering the on-campus housing choices, the application process, and a few key deadlines for you folks to remember. And you will also learn about the benefits of living on campus as a first-year student. And we'll finally be touching up on housing options outside of campus as well. Our agenda for the day includes an informative session on living on campus, followed by options for living off campus. After which we'll have a question and answer session to address any concerns that you may have, and then we'll be wrapping it up with some information about a few upcoming webinars and events that you folks can attend. Okay, so to set the ball rolling, we'll begin by inviting the Housing Services team at York University. The Housing Services team is dedicated to helping you, the students, find out the right residence or the right accommodation on campus, as well as provide support for students who are looking to live off campus. On that note, I would like to invite Aaron to head the presentations, and the floor is yours, Aaron.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tirth. Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron. I'm the Assistant Manager for Off-Campus Housing here at York University, although I also work very closely with on-campus residents as well, so I'm very excited to be here to talk to all of you folks about on- and off-campus housing options. So we'll get started with what is residence. We're going to talk a little bit about residence at the Kiel campus first, and then I will touch on our Glendon campus as well a little bit, and I'm also happy to talk about the apartments and Markham campus if anyone has any questions about those at the end of the presentation. So when we talk about undergraduate residence at the Kiel campus, we have two different styles of residence that we can be talking about. So we have the traditional style buildings and the suite style buildings. In traditional style, we have standard double and single rooms, and we'll get into what that means in a moment. But essentially, double rooms house two students in one bedroom, whereas single rooms, you have your own bedroom. In traditional style, you'll share common washrooms with the other students living on your floor, as well as a lounge where cleaning is provided by our housing services staff. And you are required to purchase a dining plan when living in traditional style residence. Suite style residence, on the other hand, is a little bit different. Like traditional style, it does offer single and double rooms within a suite. Washrooms and kitchens, however, are just shared by the other students within the suite as opposed to the entire floor. And often suite style buildings are a preferred choice for our upper year students. They do give you the opportunity to cook and clean for yourselves. In suite style, you have access to a kitchen, whereas in traditional style, we don't provide that access. And as well in suite style, cleaning is not provided by the housing services staff, so you have the opportunity to kind of take control of your own cleaning and work with the others in your suite to oversee the cleaning. And in suite style, a meal plan is optional. So if that is a big constraint for you, suite style might work a little bit better for you as you're not required to purchase a dining plan, although you are welcome to if you would like to. So looking at our room types, in traditional style buildings, we have the single room and the double room. So you can see on the left here in the single room, you've got enough room for one bed, one desk, one chair, and it would just be one single student living in that bedroom. Whereas on the right, we have the double rooms in traditional style, a little bit larger. They house two beds, two desks, two of everything, so that you have the opportunity to share the bedroom with another student. And in our suite style buildings, this looks quite similar. So on the left, we have an example of a suite style single room. Once again, you see the one bed, one desk, enough room for one student to live on their own. Whereas on the right, you see the double room, two beds, two desks, enough room for two students to cohabitate in one room. So in terms of the single and double rooms, traditional and suite style buildings are quite similar. It's really more a difference of who you are sharing the common amenities with, whether it's the entire floor in traditional style or just the other students living in that suite in suite style. So in terms of what's included in the room, and this is true for suite or traditional style, in your bedroom, you will be given a single bed, a lamp, a desk, a chair, a dresser, a closet, and a garbage bin. So all the basic things that you would need. And then we ask that students bring their own things like linens or any personal items that you would like to have within your room. But this is kind of what is provided by housing services for you when you arrive. So taking a little bit of a deeper look at our traditional style residences. So in traditional style, we do offer single and double rooms. Traditional style residences often offer common shared bathrooms, and these may be communal washrooms where you enter the washroom and you have stalls within the washroom with showers, with toilets, and then with sinks, or they may be shared single stall. So in a shared single stall, it's just one enclosed bathroom with a toilet, sink, and shower. Uh, and this depends on the building, what we would offer. In traditional style, we have dining plans required. So you are required to purchase a dining plan because there is no access to a kitchen, so you're unable to cook for yourself. And then in traditional style, we also offer common rooms on each floor for events or just for socializing with other students living in your community. And our traditional style residences are Founders, Stong, Tatham Hall, Vanier, Winters, and half of Bethune. Bethune is a bit unique in that it offers traditional and suite style floors. And you'll note that Founders and Winters do not have access to an elevator. So we do keep that in mind with specific accommodation needs that students may have. Founders and Winters may not be an accessible building for you if elevator access is required for you. And then the buildings that we've put stars next to, so Vanier, Winters, and Tatham Hall, offers the shared single stall washroom options that I talked about before. So this is an example of a floor plan of a traditional style residence. I believe this is a Vanier residence. So you'll see along the outside of the floor, we've got the single and the double rooms. More singles than doubles, but there are quite a few doubles on each floor. In the middle, you'll see the 3 washrooms. So in this building, we've got one large communal washroom on top there, and then 2 of the smaller shared single stall washrooms, 2 elevators for access on the right there, and then you've got 1 common room that would be shared by all of the students living on that floor. In suite style residences, we have single and double rooms as well, and our suite sizes vary from 2 to 12-person suites. So in Pond residence, you'd be looking at a 2-person suite where we have 2 bedrooms, 2 students are sharing that suite and would be sharing their own kitchen and washroom. And then the next largest would be the 4-person suites in Bethune, although Bethune also offers 12-person suites. So in that case, it would be 4 or 12 people sharing the common washrooms and a common kitchen in that suite. And then in Calumet, we offer 6-person suites, so 6 individuals sharing 3 different washrooms within the suite, and then the common area and kitchen. And in suite style residences, we have the semi-private bathrooms. So you would only share your washrooms with the other individuals living in the suite with you, as opposed to the entire floor. We do offer kitchen appliances that you're able to cook for yourself in suite style residences. And because of that, the dining plan is optional for you to purchase. You are still welcome to purchase one if you feel that that would be helpful for you. But we do give students more opportunities to cook when they're living in suite style. And once again, I want to note that Calumet does not have access to an elevator. So if that is a requirement for you, Calumet may not be an accessible building for you. Bethune and Pond do offer the elevator access. So this is an example of a suite style residence floor plan. This is Calumet. So you'll see the 1 double room and then 4 single rooms, 2 shared washrooms, and then we've got a lounge and a kitchen that would be shared only by the individuals in that suite. So it's a bit of a smaller group sharing those different amenities. So I want to talk a little bit about the dining plans. I've mentioned them a few times now. They are required in traditional style and then optional in suite style. And this is what we are looking at. So the dining plans that you will see on our website will look a little bit more expensive. That's because for winter 2025, we will only charge you for half of the price because you're only staying for half of the academic year. So if you move in for winter 2025, you would have the option, if you're living in traditional style, of purchasing the bronze through the platinum plans. So we start at $24.25 being the cheapest plan with the bronze, and then the most expensive would be $3,250 with the platinum plan. Suite style offers the same plans as traditional style, although it's optional to purchase a plan, but also offers the suite convenience plan, which is a lower price. In case you live in suite style, if you want a little bit of a meal plan, but you feel that you don't need as much as the bronze plan offers, the suite convenience plan comes in at $16.25, so it's significantly cheaper and a good option for some students living in suite style who want to try cooking, but also would like the support of a dining plan. And again, if you're living in traditional style, it is mandatory to purchase one, whereas in suite style, it is optional. Speaking a little bit about accommodation needs, it's very important to us at Housing and Conference Services that we are consistently striving to meet the needs of students who have specific medical requirements or physical disabilities. And you'll have the opportunity on your housing application to disclose that and to work with student accessibility services so that we are able to accommodate you in the ways that you need. So at Kiel campus, we're able to provide adapted units for wheelchair users and rooms outfitted with visual alarms. And if you have an accommodation requirement outside of those two things, we are happy to work with you to figure out what will make this the most positive experience for you living in housing. So I'll touch very briefly on Glendon residences. Glendon campus is our predominantly French-speaking campus. We do have two residences available at Glendon, and that is Wood and Hilliard. So similar to the Kiel campus, Wood and Hilliard both feature single and double rooms and mixed gender floors. They do offer one female-only wing, so a single gender community if that's something that you are interested in. And at both Wood and Hilliard, you are required to purchase a dining plan, and those rates would be the exact same as what you just saw for the Kiel campus. And I want to touch a little bit on residence life, so what it's like to live in residence and the support that we are able to offer you through our residence life staff. So what is residence life? Residence life really emphasizes a sense of community and belonging while living in residence. So what's most important to them is that you are able to meet new people in your community and make new friends. I personally feel that a very big advantage of living in residence at York is the opportunity to meet other people through events that are facilitated by our own staff, and just opportunities to connect, whether in the common rooms or in the kitchens or within your suites, having the opportunity to connect with other students who are living and going to school with you, and learning how to be part of a larger community of people. For a lot of folks, I know it was when I first moved into residence at York, this is your first time being part of that larger community and living among so many other people all in one building. And I think that's a very unique opportunity to make friends and to learn how to positively contribute to a community of people. So Residence Life will aim to support you in feeling that sense of connection and belonging while you are studying at York University and while you're living in residence at York University. And they do that through enhanced community engagement and social programming. So things like events, the Residence Life staff very consistently will run events within your community on a whole variety of different topics. Sometimes there'll be food-based events where you'll have the opportunity to share food with others living in your community, or events based around physical activities, sports, things like that, creating crafts, watching a movie together, a huge variety of activities. So there's usually something that everybody can enjoy at some point, and a chance to meet other individuals who have similar interests. And there are two types of Residence Life staff offering support. So first, I'll talk about the Residence Dons. Residence Dons are upper year students who are living in the residence community with you, and they are there to provide support, safety, and community building 24/7. So there's always a Residence Don available to provide support. And they are there to help you navigate things like living in residence, making friends, and also navigating academics, any social concerns that you're having, and they're there to provide events and community building through social programming. Because they're upper year students, they have experienced a lot of the things that you may be experiencing during your first year at York University. So they're really great supports, and they are very happy to offer that assistance. Residence Life coordinators are full-time professional staff who are able to provide additional support to residents. So they have a lot of understanding of how the university itself works, and navigating the processes associated with living in residence and going to university for the first time. So they are available to offer you additional support, and they may reach out to you at any given time just to check in on how you're doing, and to provide you any resources that you may need or help you get connected with other resources at York University. So talking a little bit about what rates will look like, similar to the dining plans, because we are only talking about winter 2025. All of these rates are half of what's posted on our website, because the ones posted on our website are for the entire year. So looking at traditional style residences for winter 2025, if you're staying in a single room, you're starting at $4,283, maximum being $4,411. Rates do differ slightly between our buildings. So take a look at our website if you want to know the specific rates for any one of our given buildings, as they're all posted. A double room in traditional style is a little bit cheaper. You're looking at $3,931 starting, going up to about $4,076. And in suite style at Kiel, jump a little bit in price. So single rooms started around $4,600, going up to about $5,500, and then a double room a little bit cheaper at $4,600 to $4,800. Glendon rates are quite similar. In a single room at Glendon, you're looking between $4,100, $4,600. In a double, about $4,046. And then Glendon also offers semi-private rooms, which is kind of like a mix of a traditional and a suite style a little bit, in which you have your own bedroom, but you're sharing a washroom with one or two other people. And those rooms start at about 6,000, go up to about 6,100. And please note that these rates, which are posted, do not include the dining plans. So dining plans are priced in addition to the above costs. And as a reminder, those range from about 2,400 to 3,250 for the winter 2025 term. So if you're in traditional style, that is mandatory for you. In suite style, that is optional. But make sure when you're calculating the costs associated with residents for the year that you are including dining plans on top of the rates posted here. So looking a little bit at the housing application process, applications for winter 2025 are available now through the Apply for Residence page at yorku.ca/housing. And students are eligible to apply once you are admitted to a full-time degree program at York University. So we do require that you've been admitted to the full-time program prior to applying for residence. And once you've done that, you'll be able to view the application on our website. So taking a look at what that process looks like, when you're applying for residence, you'll log in using your Passport York ID, and there will be a big Apply Now button on the right there. You'll see right under it the steps on how to apply PDF. So that document will walk you through every step of the application, so you have a very clear understanding of what you're doing at every point in that application. So I really recommend having that document open in a separate tab while you're going through the application process. And the application will cover a variety of topics. In order, it'll look like room preferences and then lifestyle preferences, food allergies and dietary restrictions, adapted housing, medical emergency information, and then your application fee. So I'll talk a little bit more about the lifestyle preferences. So this is a series of lifestyle questions that will be asked during your application, and we use these to match your compatibility with potential roommates or suite mates if that's applicable. Not every student will have a roommate. If you're placed in a traditional style single room, you may not have a roommate, in which these questions won't really apply. But if you're placed in a double room or if you're placed in a suite, we use these questions so we're able to match you up with other students who are compatible with you in terms of your lifestyle to hopefully provide a better residence experience. So I know the questions are quite small, but an example of things that you may be asked are what time you wake up in the morning and what time you go to bed at night. If you consider yourself a neat and tidy person in terms of your living space, if you like to study with music playing out loud, or if you prefer quiet in your room, or if you like to sleep with the window open. So just a variety of questions where it may be important to you to live with somebody who feels similarly to enhance the harmony that you have with your roommate or suite mate. So we really do ask that you complete and answer all these questions as honestly as possible, as that way we'll be able to secure you a more compatible roommate or suite mate. And then please note a $250 application fee is required to complete your application, and it is required to be paid at the time of submitting your application. You won't be able to submit your application until that fee is paid. So that is quite important. And there'll be instructions on the application on how you can make that payment, but it's just directly through the application. And I really encourage you to read the current/new students FAQs, which are available on our website, the residence occupancy agreement and rates, and the application cancellation policy on the website to get a better understanding of the policies regarding this fee. In the event that you need to cancel your application for any reason, please refer to the application and reservation cancellation policy, also available on our website, for information about how you can cancel your application, the form that you need to submit, and your eligibility for refunds before submitting your cancellation form. The refund policy is all up on our website, so I encourage you to read through that before going through the cancellation process to get an understanding of if you are entitled to a refund and how much. And students who are wishing to cancel their application or room reservation must complete the application cancellation form, which you can also find on our website. So that is the gist of on-campus housing, but I want to provide a little bit of information about the off-campus housing opportunities that we offer as well. So our off-campus housing website will connect you with a variety of different ways that you can begin your search for off-campus housing, as well as a variety of resources about off-campus housing. I know for a lot of you, it may be your first time looking at potentially renting in Toronto, and you may have heard a lot about the renting in Toronto can be complicated, and there's a lot to think about. So we've really tried to provide a collection of resources for you to help break down what those processes look like, so that you know what your rights and responsibilities are as a tenant renting in Toronto, and you can make safe and informed decisions when you are finding and securing off-campus housing. So I'll go in depth a little bit about each of these options, but on our website, you'll see immediately the begin your search for off-campus housing. And we offer 3 options for beginning that search. So we have the Forstay Marketplace, which we just launched this summer. It's brand new. We have the Quad, we have CoStar listings, and then we have the Off-Campus Resource Hub, which will provide you additional information about renting in the GTA, what your rights and responsibilities look like, and then general information about safety. So the Forstay Marketplace, as I mentioned, is brand new this year. And this is a website we've connected with the company Forstay, who specializes in securing housing for students in Canada. And they have helped us build this website so that you're able to find listings that have been verified by Forstay, the company, to hopefully enhance your safety when renting and ensure that you're being connected with legitimate opportunities for housing. So you'll be able to navigate to the website and immediately it'll say search and book off-campus housing near York University. You can select York University Keele campus, and then you can input the dates in which you want to stay in a rental. So the rentals offered on this website do not require a 1-year lease for the most part, so you're able to rent for a shorter period of time, which you may find helpful if you're only planning on staying for just the winter semester this year for winter 2025. You're able to input those specific dates onto here to see what's available for that period of time. And then once you hit that search button, it'll populate with all of the rentals in the area and you're able to sort whether by price, by proximity to the Keele campus, what kind of rental you're looking for, if you're looking to share a room with somebody else, to share an apartment with somebody else, or if you're looking to rent an entire apartment for yourself. You'll be able to select all of those options to find the rental that is most compatible with what you're looking for. And you can message the landlord directly through the marketplace to hopefully streamline that communication and get you into that rental as soon as possible. The Quad at York also offers off-campus housing, and a major advantage of staying with the Quad is their proximity to the campus. They're located right on the southern border of the Keele campus, so extremely close, walking distance to all of your classes. And they offer fully amenitized living within the Quad, so you'll have your own room or you can share a unit with someone else. And they have access to game rooms and lounges and social programming. And there are a whole bunch of different shops and food options on the lower floor of the Quad that you'll have access to, as well as a gym. So a great opportunity, and I know that they still have some vacancies for the upcoming term, so definitely encourage you to reach out to the Quad and to take a look at their website to see if that might be a good option for you. Given the proximity to campus, it's a very popular option. And then our third opportunity, very similar to the Forstay Marketplace, we also have the CoStar listings. And they similarly will offer different listings in the area that you can look at for rentals. CoStar tends to lean towards full unit rentals and 1-year leases, but they do offer some different opportunities for shorter term leases if that's something that you're looking for. And a great advantage of this website is that they offer roommate matching. So if you're looking to share an apartment with someone else, you can use their roommates tab at the top there to find and search for other students who may be looking for something similar, connect with them, have conversation to see if you might be potentially compatible roommates, to hopefully cut down on the cost of renting, because renting in Toronto, it can be expensive at times. And so having a roommate is a great way to cut down on those costs a little bit. So the Off-Campus Resource Hub also offers some resources and some information about renting in Toronto. So we have the Off-Campus Living tab, which provides information on house searching, what you should prepare in advance, living arrangements and roommates, and how to get along with your roommates and how to navigate potential conflict with roommates. Things like financial planning, which can be very important when renting, and all the finances and the rates that you might need to consider, your responsibilities as a tenant, and then maintenance. The university resources will connect you with the York-specific resources, including our Office of Student Community Relations, Student Counseling, Health and Wellbeing, Student Engagement, and Transportation Services. And then student safety will connect you with safety resources, including fire safety guidelines, the York University State Safety app, Rent Safe Toronto, and safety tips for international students specifically. So all great resources that I really would encourage you to check out before you even start looking at listings, so that you can come in prepared with the questions that you might want to ask a potential landlord or potential roommate, and you have kind of your own checklist of what your budget looks like and what is most important to you when looking for a rental. And then we also have city and community resources listed on our site. So Tribunals Ontario provides guidance on resolving disputes between residential landlords and tenants. While we hope that disputes never happen, sometimes they can. And it's important that you have the connections you need so that you know what your rights are, so that you are able to settle those disputes properly. And so I encourage you to reach out to Tribunals Ontario if you ever have any questions about what your rights are in a situation, or if you need any kind of guidance regarding resolving any disputes that you may be experiencing. Rent Safe Toronto offers a variety of valuable resources for tenants renting in Toronto, and these include evaluations, building maintenance standards, forms, and templates. So it'll give you a really good idea of what landlords are required to do on their end in terms of safety for a unit and what they're allowed to charge you in terms of things like deposits. So Rent Safe Toronto will help you to understand how you can rent in Toronto in a safer manner. And then Toronto Rental Housing and Tenant Information will give you even more access to info regarding eviction laws, housing standards, finding housing, and legal help. So if you're looking for housing in Toronto, especially if you're looking for lower cost housing, Toronto Rentals has a lot of resources for finding and securing low cost housing. So that's it for me. I'll pass it back to Turth.
Yes, so thank you very much, Aaron, for your informative session. I know it's quite a lot, but I'm hoping that the students had an opportunity to learn about how York University can support you in terms of on-campus or off-campus housing, whether this was the room style or understanding how you can benefit from living on campus, or your rights and responsibilities as a tenant if you're planning to live off campus. These are all the different options that York University has, and they're more than happy to be supporting you. Also, please do take a look at the 3 websites that Aaron mentioned if you're planning to live off campus, so that you can locate the best possible housing option. On that note, we will now be opening the floor to any questions that you folks may have. Please use the Q&A feature to submit your questions. I must stress about how important it is to ask questions, because if you do not ask your questions, you might not gain your clarity. So please do ask your questions. Please take advantage of Aaron being present in the webinar today. And yeah. As we wait for the students to send in their questions, you can take some time to think about them. We'll begin off by addressing a few questions that we have previously received at a few other webinars. And one of the few most common questions we get, first of all, is, will I get to choose a particular residence building that I would like to stay in?
That's a great question. So unfortunately, this year we're not able to give students the opportunity to choose their own residence, and that for the winter term especially is just subject to what is available. We currently have students living in residence who have been here since the fall term, and so we do have limited availability. We do have availability, but it's not, we're not able to allow students currently to choose their own room or residence. So you are able to share with us what your preferences are in your application. So if it's really important to you that you have a single room or really important that you're in a suite style residence, you're able to indicate that in your application so we can take that into consideration. And we do our best to meet the preferences of students. We're not able to guarantee preferences as it is subject to availability, but we do our best to give students the room that best suits the needs that they've indicated on that application. So I encourage you to review the residences that we have on the website and whether a suite style or traditional style fits your lifestyle better, and same with a single or double room, and to indicate that on your application. And you're also welcome to reach out to us at undergradres@yorku.ca, which is our undergraduate residence email, if you want to share more about your situation or circumstance, or if there's anything additional that you want us to take into consideration when we're assigning you a residence.
Yeah, for sure. And it must also be mentioned that regardless of the residence building you receive, all the residences on campus are really great. From personal experience especially, I've had very good experiences with all the buildings. So yeah. Another important question, very important, is, are we allowed to bring kitchen appliances like toasters to the residence?
So we have a lot of guidelines surrounding what you're able to bring and what you're not able to bring, and most of those are for fire safety reasons. So especially in a suite style residence, we already provide a lot of those kitchen amenities for you. And so if cooking for yourself is very important to you, I would consider requesting a suite style residence so you have that already available to you. Otherwise, if you're looking to bring your own things, we don't allow students to use any of those appliances in their bedrooms. So any appliances whatsoever would have to be used in a common room or lounge. But you can view the undergraduate residence occupancy agreement for more information about specifically what is and isn't allowed. And when in doubt, please just email us and ask, and we are happy to let you know for specific products if you send us the link, whether or not it would be allowed in residence.
Yes, as you did mention, you can always email Aaron, but you can also ask Aaron the questions in person here right now. So if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to send them in using the Q&A feature, and we will be addressing them. And I will be moving on to a few off-campus housing questions that we get. And one of the most prominent question we get is, what's the best way to find roommates? And does York provide a platform to find a roommate for off-campus housing?
So yes, the CoStar listings platform does allow you to navigate through roommates, potential roommates on there. So that would be probably your best bet right now in terms of finding a potential roommate. Um, in terms of the best way, I would say that is the best way personally. But there are other opportunities. Like I always recommend, engaging with the York social media platforms and seeing if you can find other students who may be in similar situations and make use of the resources on the website regarding roommate matching and roommate checklist to make sure that you are compatible with someone before you look at sharing a unit with them. So having those conversations and asking questions similar to like what we ask in our lifestyle preferences section for the undergraduate residence application can be really helpful to make sure that you're compatible when living with someone before you go about that.
All right, that makes a lot more sense now. And another one question we have is, can I decline a room offer and still be considered for another residence?
So in the event that you decline the offer, you will need to reapply for residence. Luckily, you don't have to repay the application fees. So if you decline your offer and we cancel your application, you can reapply at no cost, but you will be placed back on the waiting list. So if we have a significant wait list, it could take some extra time for you to receive an offer. So I think that's something to keep in mind when you're considering whether or not you want to accept. We also do offer at limited availability room transfers about partway through the semester. Usually that will open around February for the winter term. So if you accept your room offer and you move in and it's just not quite what you were expecting and you want to consider potentially moving to a different residence, if we have availability, we do our best to accommodate that, and you'll be able to do that through our room transfer form.
Okay. We do have a question on the question and answer feature. So someone is asking, the cost of living on campus and off campus, what's the difference, or just a basic estimate for it?
That's a tough one. So depends a lot on what you're considering on campus and what you're considering off campus. So our cheapest on campus option would be probably a double room in a traditional style building. But in that case, you do need to purchase a meal plan, which is an extra few $1,000s on top of that. But some of the benefits of living on campus are that you're not paying for things like Wi-Fi or hydro, which are things that you'll often have to pay for off campus. Whereas living off campus, you're not ever required to purchase a dining plan, of course, but I find rates for apartments off campus are usually a little bit higher. And you're also often paying for things like utilities or Wi-Fi, things like that. And so that can really bump up the price. So it really depends a lot on where you're renting. If you're trying to rent in Toronto, it's usually a little bit more expensive than renting in the cities surrounding Toronto. But I think the best way to mitigate costs if you're thinking about going off campus are looking at having a roommate or multiple roommates, depending on the size of the apartment that you're renting. And some apartments will offer things like included hydro and internet packages with their rentals. So looking at that. But it's hard to say which exactly would be cheaper or how much of a difference it would be, just because there is so much variety in on and off campus rentals.
Okay. And another question that the student is asking is, are there any rules for living on campus? Are there any rules around moving, around how you can move in and the time you need to move in and out?
So yes, there are rules. I would really encourage you to take a look at the Residence Life website and specifically the residence community standards that are listed on the website for all of the details surrounding the community standards associated with living in residence. But for the specific things that you've asked about, like moving around, time in and out. So you're welcome to go in and out of residence at any time. There are no restrictions regarding your movement in and out or around the residence. There are restrictions on the amount of noise that you can make during quiet hours, which would typically start at 11 p.m. Or 1 a.m. on weekends. And there are restrictions to guests. So you would only be able to have 9 overnight guests in residence per month. And you have to sign your guests in when they come in. But I would definitely recommend taking a look through the community standards to make sure that the rules surrounding living in residence are compatible with your lifestyle or something that you can adapt to, because there are a few that are just designed to maximize the safety of everyone living in residence and ensure that everybody's able to have an enjoyable experience while living in residence.
Yep, that makes sense. You also did mention about the Residence Life website. The link has also
Yes,
been placed in the chat, so the student can always refer to that link.
perfect.
And another question we have is, are on-campus rentals monthly or yearly?
So for on-campus, like living in residence specifically, we charge by term. So students moving in the winter would pay for the 4 months from January to April, because that would be the winter term. Usually, if you're staying for the full academic year, we would charge for September through April. So the answer, I guess, is kind of neither, but it's by academic year, really.
Okay. And one question, last one I believe we have is, does paying the application fee guarantee that I would get an offer for a housing?
So it doesn't guarantee that you will get an offer. However, if your application is canceled or if you choose to cancel your application because you don't receive an offer, you are eligible for a partial refund of that application fee. And that's also listed in our refund policy that you can read about.
Okay. So I believe that's all in terms of the questions we have today. I would just quickly like to remind you folks that if you'd like to refer back to Aaron's presentation, you can always visit the York International Peer Harbor webinar website, and you can rewatch the recording of this webinar, sorry, at your best convenience. And the links, the slide will also be shared to you. So if you'd like to access the different slides or refer back to a few materials, you can always do that at your best convenience. Okay. Once again, thank you very much, Aaron, for your presentation and answering our questions. I'm hoping this helped the students as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so those are all really amazing questions. We will now be taking a look at a few upcoming webinars and events that we have coming up. So you may continue to use the Q&A feature in case you have any more questions for the remainder of this session. And just a small reminder once again that all the links to registration will be placed in the chat. So you don't need to worry about that. You can always register by clicking the link. Okay, so first and foremost, we have another upcoming webinar, which is going to be on preparing to apply for a study permit. And this session, I must say, is very essential for anyone who is preparing to travel to Canada, as it will give you all the information you need to successfully apply for a study permit and to ensure you have the correct documents for your application process, which is very, very, very important. And during this session, we'll have a licensed immigration specialist to guide you through the application process. And most importantly, you will have a chance to ask this immigration specialist any questions that you may have. So if this sounds like a webinar that you would benefit from, then feel free to register for the webinar by clicking the link in the chat. And do not miss out on our very first October drop-in session hosted by York International's Global Peer Program. These drop-in sessions will connect you, the new international students, with experienced Upper York University students. And the Upper York students will provide guidance on anything from navigating university life or academics or just adjusting to life in Canada and a lot more. So during the sessions, you'll have a valuable one-on-one time with a mentor, and you can ask your questions, get advice, or gain insights from someone who has been in your shoes before. So if this sounds like something that you can make the most use of, then feel free to click the link in the chat, and we look forward to seeing you all there. Managing finances in a new country can be very challenging, and this is why our webinar on financial planning for international students provides an overview of the general cost of living in Canada, including the cost of studies, living expenses, and much more. In that terms, we'll also include residence costs as well, since we are having the residence presentations. And you will also learn about the various kinds of financial aids that are available to you, the international students. These include the different scholarships or awards or bursaries that you can make great use of. And you'll also learn about the financial resources and budgeting tips available to you, allowing you to make more informed decisions about your finances. So if you'd like to make more informed decisions about your finances, then feel free to register for the event, and hoping to see you there. Next, we have the October community event hosted once again by York International's Global Peer Program. This event is designed to further support your transition to York University and Canada by focusing on the theme of this month's event, which is York University. So if you'd like to learn more about York University, what the study life is here at York and a few other important stuff, then do feel free to drop in at our community event. And while I previously mentioned about the drop-in sessions, these happen on a one-on-one basis, but the community events happen in a group setting where you have a platform to meet fellow new international students, as well as connect with our GPP mentors. So do not miss out on this chance to enhance your knowledge about York University and the campus as a whole, as well as the most important, which is to build valuable connections within our community. And finally, we have the Understanding Your Health Insurance webinar, where you will receive a comprehensive overview of the mandatory University Health Insurance Plan, abbreviated as UHIP, that all the students enrolling in a Canadian institution are required to join. And we'll cover the important deadlines regarding the UHIP, as well as explaining how this University Health Insurance Plan works. We will also be highlighting a few wellness resources available at York, to help you further support your navigating your healthcare needs, while you're here studying at York. I know these are quite a lot of events for you to attend, but I must strongly emphasize that on a personal level, I attended all these events during my transition to York when I was beginning to enroll. And I felt that these events greatly helped me, as I was able to have my questions answered and I was able to gain more insights. So I would highly recommend that you folks join as well. Okay, so if you take a few seconds to scan the York International Events calendar, it will tell you about the dates and times of other upcoming webinars and events that we have. And you will also be able to register for this event directly from the events calendar. I'll give you folks a few seconds to scan the QR code and bookmark it to your browser. Okay, I'm hoping that was done. And before we wrap up, we'd like to encourage everyone to stay connected with us through our social media channels. And by following us, you'll receive important updates, event announcements, and opportunities to engage with the York community. Before we end the webinar, I'll take a quick look at the chat to see if we have any last-minute questions. Okay, so it seems like we have no questions today. And thank you all for attending today's webinar, and we look forward to seeing you at future webinars and events. Thank you.